Chapter 11, Cognitive Models and a Theory of Academic Motivation, Part 2. In this section, I will be discussing the sources of information for attributions, the attributional process, the cumulative effects of different experiences on motivational beliefs, and principles of instruction on classroom influences on student motivation. Sources of information for attributions. In this table, I will discuss how an individual makes use of several sources of information in the search for a causal attribution. A primary determinant is the learner's prior success history. A consistent record of prior achievement leads to attributions of ability for success, whereas a moderate success record is likely to generate effort as a cause of success. In contrast, success for an individual with a consistently poor achievement record is likely to be attributed to luck, and failure will be attributed to lack of ability. Social norms and the performance records of others also provide information. Succeeding a task failed by others likely leads to the perception that one is able. Similarly, failing a task that others accomplished successfully may lead to an attribution of lack of ability. The learner's causal schema and individual characteristics also influence attributions. A sufficient causal schema is the belief that either ability or effort may account for success. In contrast, a necessary causal schema is the belief that ability and effort are essential for success and is often the selected explanation for success to both ability and hard work. An important individual characteristic that is related to causal attribution made by children is self-concept. Elementary school students who are high in self-concept credit skill and ability for success. They also engage in more self-reward following success than low self-concept students. Developmental level also influences attribution selection. Most children in kindergarten and first grade hold high expectations or perceptions of their ability and high expectancies of success. They are also more likely to attribute success and failure to luck than older children. The attributional process. The attributional process begins with an achievement-related outcome. Here, the learner first appraises his or her performance and assigns it a subjective rating on a continuum from success to failure. Then, the individual either identifies a cause for the outcome or reflectively begins to look for the probable cause. A search occurs most often for unexpected outcomes, such as failure when the learner expected success. The identification of the outcome as success or failure generates emotional reactions of satisfaction, or perhaps happiness for success and frustration or upset for a failure outcome. An example would be an athletic competition, where one tends to experience a happiness for a victory, whether the win resulted from additional training, a poor competitor, or just simply having luck. The learner then identifies a causal attribution for the success or failure. Sources of information for this decision include the learner's prior success history, social norms, and the performance of others, the learner's causal schema, and individual characteristics. An example of the attribution process is the Little League baseball player who performs poorly during a game. The boy has played poorly in the past and the other children are playing well. The boy also has tried to improve by practicing many hours. On the basis of history, social comparisons, and expenditures of effort, the boy is likely to conclude that he has failed because he is not good at baseball. Attributions for success and failure. Typical attributions for success and failure outcomes are ability, effort, task difficulty, and luck. However, the properties or dimensions of the attribution are the key factors that generate emotional reactions and expectancy for the future. For example, success attributed to help from others, which is unstable external and uncontrollable, may generate gratitude but not pride. Therefore, help from others does not influence self-esteem or future task engagement. Of particular importance are the attributions of ability and effort. A negative outcome attributed to the lack of ability generates feelings of shame, which may be followed by withdrawal. Also, because of lack of ability is stable, internal, and not controlled by the individual, the same negative outcome is expected in the future. The cumulative effects of different experiences on motivational beliefs. The two motivational patterns that require intervention are the changes in children's motivational beliefs during the middle school years and the maladaptive pattern referred to as learned helplessness. The declines in children's motivational beliefs, especially in mathematics, often continue into high school, and middle school students often rate school subject lower on utility and importance. One rationale for motivational decline is that by the age of 11 or 12, children differentiate between ability and effort. That is, they become more proficient at interpreting classroom feedback. Also, the school environment changes in the middle school years. Competition often increases, classroom tasks become more abstract, and evaluation becomes more important. The concept of learned helplessness refers to individuals with low self-concept who have experienced few successes. They are likely to see no relationship between any success they have and their own actions. Learned helpless children also attribute failure to stable factors such as lack of ability. They differ from mastery-oriented children who do not give up in the face of failure and who try various strategies. Two classroom influences on the development of students' motivational beliefs are the nature of classroom goal structures and teacher reactions to students who differ in ability. Mastery-oriented classrooms facilitate the development of positive student motivation because such classrooms emphasize effort, improvement, and challenge and establish an environment in which students can experience improvement and mastery. In contrast, a focus on perceptions of ability, public evaluation, and showcasing only the best students' work are performance-oriented. Also, teacher feedback, both verbal and nonverbal, sends messages to students about the teacher's attributions for failure outcomes. That is, teachers' reactions of anger typically are interpreted as lack of effort as the cause for failure. Expressions of pity and unsolicited help are interpreted as sympathy, which indicates lack of ability. Other teacher behaviors that send messages of low ability are sitting low achievers farther from the teacher, less eye contact, and fewer opportunities to respond to teacher questions. Implementing a learning or mastery goal orientation includes flexible instructional groups, variations in assignments due to skill levels, encouragement of peer assistance, and substantive comments on student work. Observed characteristics of two mastery-oriented classrooms included student participation in generating class rules, considerable student autonomy, recognition and support of students' efforts, and a view of learning as a process that focuses on understanding and improvement. This concludes my section, and now I will hand it over to Myra, where she will continue with part 3 of cognitive models and theory of academic motivation. Thank you.